What is going down? What the fuck is going down? It's your boy, StudioMguyvR, and you are listening to StudioMguyvR's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. Welcome to the podcast. If you're new to the show, guys, welcome to the show. If you're into anime, if you're into video games, if you're into nerd culture, we talk about all of that shit here. And today's episode, which is number 218, I have a few things to discuss with you guys, man. Let me just say, first of all, if you guys are familiar with Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul, man, I hope you guys didn't spend any money on that pay-per-view. Hope you went somewhere, maybe to a friend's house or something like that, and watched it, because it was a fucking waste of money. I didn't pay for it. I didn't even go watch it, but I knew before going in it was going to be a circus show. Yeah. If you guys don't know the results, just Google it. It's there for you. It was just an exhibition match, 8 rounds. I'm a boxing fan. If you guys don't know, those who are new to the show, and yeah, I figured that's what it would be. They made their money, and they were the ones laughing last. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, get that off my chest. But anyway, on to bigger and better things. There's been some news, and I cannot wait to get into this shit, guys, because I hate to say I told you so, but I fucking told you so. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, trust me, by the end of this episode, you will definitely understand what I am talking about. But I definitely have some delays. There are some delays sweeping these video game streets and taking it by storm. I mean, basically, and I called most of the shit. And I'm going to call a couple other things, too, before the show is over. Also, we have, there's some saltiness. There's a lot of saltiness out here in the video game community, and it's over versions of a certain game, or games, if you will. I'm going to talk about that as well. I got some information on Nintendo's E3 special, and I also have some other information on Square Enix's special, with what they will be hosting and streaming for you guys, and then a couple of just little tidbits on, some games, or maybe some news on some other games, upcoming games and stuff. So not too much, but the stuff that I'm going to be talking about this episode is definitely going to slap. So let's get in this motherfucking episode, guys. Excuse me, I'm very tired. I didn't get a chance to record as early as I would like to have, because I have a 10-month-old daughter named Yuri, and a lot of you guys already know about her. But yeah, she's a firecracker, man. I had to wait for her to fall asleep, and for some reason tonight, she wanted to stay up and hang on as long as she could. I just didn't want any random outbursts from her in the middle of the night or during the middle of the recording of this podcast. So I had to wait for her to go to sleep. And yeah, so I'm kind of tired. I didn't get a lot of sleep. I didn't get a lot of shit done, but it's all good. I'm here for you guys, and we're going to get into it. I want to start off with a little bit of some news. I'm going to talk about some news, some things going on. Maybe you guys know about it, maybe you guys don't. A couple of games. One in particular is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. It's basically a predecessor to the Symphony of the Night, the classic Castlevania game, my ultimate favorite Castlevania game ever. But if you guys aren't familiar with that game, they have announced basically that there will be a second game. It's in early stages of development right now, so if you guys are fans of that game, then it gives you some reason to be excited for the next one. And also, I mean, they also did say that it's early stages, so don't, it's nowhere close to being done. They're still actually supporting content for the current game, so it's going to be a while, but just to know that it's in development for some of you guys out there, you may appreciate that. Another thing, I want to talk about a game to watch out for, just something that I ran across, and I can't believe I didn't know more about this game. Maybe I did see it, maybe it kind of flew by me, and I didn't take the time to just figure out what it was. But a game it goes by the name of Dungeons and Dragons: Dark Alliance, and that's supposed to be coming out right around the corner, actually. June 22nd is the date for that. It's a third-person RPG, hack and slash from the looks of it. Not the best graphics that I've seen, but I think you get 4 characters to choose from. There's 4 different characters, and I don't know the gist of the whole game, but it looked okay. I'm gonna get a little bit more information on it, but Dungeons and Dragons, they've been a popular franchise for years, especially in the video game community. So I don't know, maybe that's why it caught my attention just now. But yeah, it looks okay. It looks like something I might pick up and play for a little bit at least. But it doesn't look AAA to me. Maybe AA. I don't know. You guys be the judge of that. But I just thought I'd mention it because it is June, and there's a lot of things that are going to be happening in June, and this is just something else to add to that palette for you guys if you're interested or not. But yeah, the game is called Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. So Google it, look it up, check it out. Maybe you guys might like it. Okay, another piece of news that I want to discuss real quick is No Man's Sky. Remember No Man's Sky? That game? That game, when it first came out, it had kind of a Cyberpunk 2077 feel to it, as far as, you know, how they handled the game, how they promoted the game. I mean, the guy went out on talk shows and the game had so much fucking hype, and it did not deliver, and it fell on its face. And you know what? This is a recipe that a lot of companies should take, in my opinion, from this company, from this game, and apply it to what they're doing right now. And I think they would be the better for it. And what I mean by that is, if you don't know the history of No Man's Sky, I mean, it was a dumpster fire when it first came out, and everybody, there were memes, there were all kind of shit going on about this game. But if you go back and look at it now, it's a completely different game, and they've still continued to add updates after updates. Now, you know, the game, I didn't touch it until maybe a year after it was released, and I can't even think of a year it came out. I want to say it came out 2017. I want to say 2017, maybe 2018. I could be, don't give me the line on that, guys. But when it came out, I definitely waited at least a year to play it when there were updates that were put in place, and it was a completely different game then. And I remember sinking hours into that game and playing with friends and doing things. It was always fun to get into a ship, find a ship, put it together, do things to your ship, and be able to travel around different planets and resources and stuff. It was, you know, the gameplay loop was very, very addictive, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm thinking about jumping back in there, man. It's definitely something to do, especially now with all the new vehicles, and they even have, like, you know, live vehicles, the ships that are actually living, breathing things. Like, it's just crazy, but it's true. It's there. There's a hub now. You can play with other players now. I mean, there's so much stuff, guys. I'm gonna have to look back in here and take a deeper dive and find out what's really going on behind the hood, because there's a lot of shit going on with this game now. I mean, it is totally, completely a different fucking game now. And you know, I'm kind of curious to see what else is going on with this. I'm really kind of curious to see what the combat has changed, if any, and what has changed in that, as far as, you know, weapons and things of that nature, and even enemies and stuff. But that's what I'm looking forward to. But these guys came from the bottom. Okay, they fell flat on their fucking face. They recovered, and they never stopped. They said, look, we know we fucked up. We are going to do everything in our power to continue to give you guys the shit we promised you, and we're not going to stop until we do that, and then some. And they have done that. I mean, the new DLC out now, I think it's called Prisms. It just came out recently. I don't know the exact date, but it's really recent. It just came out. So if you guys have No Man's Sky, if you haven't played it for a while, it's definitely something you might want to pick back up and take a look at. And yeah, you can get No Man's Sky for the cheap now anyway. I mean, I think you can get it for $10, $15 now. And it's definitely, I think, worth it now from what you pay and what you get. Now you're starting to see, you know, what they promised, and you're starting to see everything like come to the light. And I'm kind of interested. I'm not gonna lie, man. I want to see what else has happened out here. And I got a feeling that if I go down that rabbit hole, man, it may not come up for a while. But that's just something to report. And I just wish other companies took this or take this and they ride with it. Because Cyberpunk 2077, guys, I mean, they're in more shit than I could have ever imagined them in right now. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse. I think I was looking at a video the other day, and I found out that these guys have not even, I think they've sold 1 million copies of the game since it's bad. Okay. In other words, what I'm trying to say is, compared to, there's other games, Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of them, which has sold more than this game in the past 6 months. Okay, that's crazy that you have those games that old outselling these games. Okay, so I think they sold 14 million, almost 15 million copies. Now, that is a great that is definitely great numbers. Those are great numbers by any stretch. By you know what I mean. But if you look at their shareholders and if you look at what they were shooting for, you know, they were looking more for, I think, around 31 million. Okay, that was their goal. That's what they wanted, and that's what they all planned on, and it didn't happen. They only got half of that. So in essence, if you look at the pure numbers, yes, those are winning numbers. But if you look at everything that went into this game, all the resources, all the money that it took, basically all the money they spent on promoting this game, okay, that is what they lost. Their stock has been plummeting since, and I mean it's just bad. It's just bad all the way around. They're trying to update shit. They're trying to do things. The game cannot get stable, and it's just not a finished game. I mean, so bad. Think about it. Put it like this: you still can't buy this game on the Sony at PlayStation Store. It's still not there because Sony feels that the game is still not up to snuff. Okay, if they're telling them, look, this game is still broken enough to keep this off of our platform, we don't want to fuck over any more consumers, and we don't want to be the butt of the new joke. We don't want to become another meme. Look, that's telling you something right there. Okay, they still have not been able to get this game up to snuff. Now, keep in mind, they had other things planned for this game. They had other DLCs and things like that planned for this game. Now, the question I have now is that even going to happen? That could very well not happen, guys. I mean, this game was so fucking hyped, and they promised so many things, and this is, in a way, I think this had to happen. I think it was meant to happen to show other people, you know, no matter who you are as a company, no matter how big you are, no matter how much money you have behind you, it doesn't fucking matter if you don't deliver on what you say you're going to deliver. Because we live in an age now where you can't do that shit. It's just not possible. You can't boast, you can't throw your nuts on the table, and you can't tell everybody, here it is, and then come up short, okay? Because you're going to pay for it. And in this case, they paid for it in spades. They did. Just keeping it real. I'm not going to play lollipop games. I'm not going to run around the mulberry bush. It's just real shit. And they got what they fucking deserved, man. It had to happen. I feel bad for myself and for a lot of people who are looking forward to playing this and really getting into that experience. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and tell you that the game, I didn't have fun playing the game, because there are lots of times where I did have fun playing the game, but the game was definitely broken. The game was very unpolished, and the game was a nuisance in a lot of different ways. And it's like you trying to like something, you want to get into something, but you know, just when you get ready to settle in, something happens. It crashes, or you see a fucking crazy bug, or whatever the fuck it may be. Okay. That's the kind of game it was. And I told myself, you know, I'm not going to play this game anymore until I can get the best version out of it, you know. And I spent a lot of time in this game already. I think I spent, you know, at least 70 hours, 60 hours on that game. So I put a lot of work in there. And yeah, it just, that's what you get. Okay. So this could be the end. I'm not going to say the end of CD Projekt Red, because they, you know, I think they were just out of their fucking zone, man. I think they were out of their comfort zone, and you know, they're used to the Witcher prototype, the Witcher, you know, skeleton. You know, they can go into that kind of game, and they already know what the fuck they're doing. They're already set in stone. They've got skeletons already laid out. They know kind of how to approach that type of game when it comes to development. But this is completely something different. And then when you get pressure applied on top of all of that, with these shareholders on your ass, and everybody breathing down your neck, people get nervous, and mistakes get made, and things don't get done the way they should be. And then, you know, these devs are probably telling these guys, look, this is not anywhere close to being ready. I'm not blaming the devs, because the devs, they can do what they can do, and they can tell, you know, their bosses, and they can tell their bosses where they're at. It's up to the people who make the decisions to say, all right, well, shit, we're behind by a year and a half. Fuck. We're going to have to just wait and put it on hold. And that's where the mistakes come into play. So you can't really necessarily blame the devs. If the devs had the time that they needed to do everything they needed to get done, I think we would be looking at a much better game at a later date. Okay? But that's not the world we live in. All right? We live in a world of politics. We live in a world of money. And it rules almost everything here. It dictates almost everything, including our world, which is the video game universe, even the anime universe, everything that I hold dear to my heart. I mean, there's politics involved in all this shit. All these companies, Nintendo, all this shit. There's a lot of shit going on, guys, behind the scenes. And That's the reason why we don't get a lot of things that we want, and that's why we get a lot of shit that we don't. Okay, um, it's just the way it goes, and we just have to take the good and hope that that outweighs the bad. I mean, that's you can apply that to life, you can apply that to anything you fucking want, but that's where we're at right now. And I pray that CD Projekt Red recovers from this. I don't think it's gonna be with this game at all. I mean, this is just a bust, and it's just gonna. They've taken too much damage. It's just too. I think it's just over. I really do. I think they'll never fully recover from this, and I think they need to move on and focus on with the next Witcher game, which they have announced they are working on, and that is in development. I think that's going to be their saving grace. I think that's going to be the game to bring them back, and I think they're going to learn a lot of lessons from this. When you start a new IP, before they take on another assignment or another project like this, they have to be 110%, sure that they are going to get the time that they need to do this. And I think, to be honest with you, it's not really on them. It's their employers, their bosses, the people who are publishing this game. They're the ones that need to look at themselves in the mirror and pour out the fucking sake. All right. They need to put out these fucking endo sticks, and they need to look at themselves in the mirror and ask themselves some serious questions. Put the butter way, way in the back. Nobody wants to see butter. Okay. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. Newcomers, if you keep listening, you'll definitely understand what I'm talking about. But yes, all of those three things need to be thrown out of the window and forgotten. Because if it doesn't, I mean, we're going to get a repeat. That's just what it is. If I was a company and I had billions of dollars and I was ready to spend it and I wanted to make a new game and I wanted to hire one of my favorite developers, like say, I don't know, Platinum Games, which is one of my favorite developers, right? I'm going to give them complete autonomy on the time that it takes to make this shit. I'm not going to rush anything. If they tell me, sir, we're going to need another 6 months for this because we need to get this shit right. And I'm going to tell them, I'm going to smile in their face and I'm going to tell them, take your time. That's what I'm going to say. Okay. But that's not how it works for a lot of these companies. Now, there are some who do. I mean, that's why Platinum Games is doing their thing, because they've built that trust with people. And that's why I'm so surprised, because CD Projekt Red did the same thing. I don't know if the people who hired them said, well, you're CD Projekt Red, you can get it done. I mean, anything we throw at you, you should be able to catch. I don't know if it was a little bit of that mixed in there. It probably was. But it was just too much pressure, and they weren't listening. They were not listening to the devs. They, okay, yeah, sure, we'll get it together. You guys will figure it out. And it didn't happen. And as a result of that, man, it ended up hurting them way worse than it ended up helping them. So that's where we're at on that game, and it will forever be tarnished. Their name will forever be tarnished because of this. This will always be associated with CD Projekt Red now. Before this game came out, they were a pristine company in my eyes, and they always looked out for the consumer, and they still do to a certain degree. But that's what happens when you don't listen to your workers, when you don't listen to the people who are making this game, who are creating this product. That they're the most important, one of the most important pieces to this, because they are what makes the game go. So I could go on and on and on for days about the shit that takes place behind these curtains when it comes to game development and how these things work. But I'm not going to do that, guys. I'm going to move on, and I'm going to talk about Nintendo. Nintendo's E3 special direct. You can call it a bunch of different things, but it's basically their E3 presentation, and it's their Nintendo Direct rolled up into one ball, and it's going to be on June 15th, and it's going to be about 40 minutes long, and I'm so anxious to see what these guys are going to do, because, there's whispers out here in these video game streets, and I do know that the follow-up to that 40-minute long presentation is going to be followed up by 3 hours, okay? 3 hours of gameplay, okay, at the Nintendo's Treehouse Live event. All right, if you guys aren't familiar with Nintendo's Treehouse, they've done this many a time before, where they have a presentation and then they end up going into gameplay and explanations and explaining, the ins and outs of each game, and let you kind of get a deeper understanding of what's going on in front of you. And I always dug that. The question I'm having is, what are they going to show? I mean, what are we going to be surprised by anything? I don't know. Nintendo, I wouldn't be surprised if we got surprised, but if we didn't, I also wouldn't be surprised, because this is Nintendo. I don't even know how to explain that, but Nintendo is one of those companies, man, that they just fucking, I don't know. They're just very strange. They're very fucking obtuse. Okay, their angles are just all over the fucking place. And I just hope to God that we get some, some great news. I hope we see something, maybe some Metroid, something from Metroid, please. Anything, you know, please give us some Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, something. Those are the two major things that I want to see. I really want to know what they're doing with those franchises, and then I would like to see like, well, there's one wish that I wish this every year, but I never seem to get it, and I'm probably just gonna have to say fuck it and just deal with the original that I have, and that is one of my favorite games on the Nintendo platform. Period. The Nintendo Wii, and that is uh, Mad World. Mad World by Platinum Games, by the way, one of their first titles that they really started getting into. That game is a game I love forever and always will love. If you don't know about Mad World, Google it. Just check it out. It's definitely over the top, and it was surprising because it came out for Nintendo and only Nintendo, and it's a very violent game, like over the top. I mean, you're taking stop signs and putting them through people's heads and shit like that. It's crazy, but it's dope, and it's got its own kind of thing to it. But that's my only wish. If we got a remake, if we got an HD version of that, yo, I would forever be in debt to Nintendo. But I don't see that happening, man. Uh, they did Wonderful 101, and they expanded on that. So I don't know. I think it's not going to happen, but I can always wish, right? But I'm curious to see what they're going to talk about, what they're going to show, and especially the new Nintendo Switch. Come on, guys. We know that is basically the talk of the town when it comes to Nintendo. This new Nintendo Switch, what is it going to entail? What is it going to be able to do? All of these things. And I think that they are going to show it. They already announced that they are going to show it at some point. My question is, what are we going to get with this new Nintendo Switch? That's what I want to know. And that all should be answered before the month of June is over. So halfway through June, man, we should know a lot of shit. Okay, a lot of things going on right now. June 15th, guys, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, what else do these guys have up their sleeve? We'll see. Only time will fucking tell. All right. I want to talk now about one more event, and it's Square Enix. Square Enix, I'm a big Square Enix guy. Love them to fucking death. Love a lot of their games. Now, they have a game that they've been working on. I want to say the trailer dropped like in 2018. So it dropped a long while ago. And the game was called Babylon's Fall. Now, the reason why I'm excited for this game, guys, I just got through talking about Platinum Games. This is one of their games. This is one of the games they've been working on. And there's like a short clip of it, like maybe a minute and 15 seconds on the internet right now. And that's all we have. So hopefully we get deeper and deeper into this. We get more gameplay. And I'm anxious to see what they've changed from this trailer, because the trailer showed a little something, but you can kind of tell it was early stage. It was definitely early stage. They were excited about it and they wanted to show something. So now I want to see how more polished it looks and what else is going on to the game. Now I know the lore is crazy deep. I couldn't tell you what about the lore because I recently just literally today was looking at a video and broke some of it down, but it's definitely biblical. It's got a lot of shit in there about the end of the world and all of these things. And I'm a sucker for lore. I love lore in my video games, and just period. And this is definitely going to be up my alley. It's a Platinum's game. Come on, man. You can't go wrong with Platinum Games, man. I love them. These guys do just excellent work, man. They do. They do. And I can't wait to see what this game is going to be about. But this is going to be June 13th. So they're dropping this shit on June 13th. It's going to be Square Enix E3 live stream. And I can't wait to see what else they've got planned. There's a couple other games I think they mentioned. I can't think of it. They're nothing I'm interested in. The only one other than this Babylon's Fall that I'm into, guys, and they have not mentioned anything about this, is Final Fantasy 16. Now, this is where shit gets kind of shaky, and I'm going to address this a little bit later in this episode, Two Shakes of a Lamb's Tail, but I'm worried. I'm worried about this game as well because everybody's lips have been sealed, and I told you guys before, if you don't hear anything about it at E3, you're probably not going to see it in 2021. I'm just telling you that right now, and I touched on this last week on my thoughts on why a lot of these AAA games aren't going to be coming out 2021, and I'm sticking to that. And I've already called a couple, and I'm gonna name him in a couple seconds. One of them in particular, but there's a lot of shit that goes into this, man. It's a lot of things that are connected behind the scenes, line, different rope that you don't see. They're invisible to a lot of people who are just casual gamers and don't know. But people who are studying these things, are huge gamers and like myself and some of you guys listening. I mean, we can see that. We can see the shit. Okay. It's like we have a sharing guide and we can see shit that other motherfuckers can't see. You're just a regular guy, but I am a Black Ambu member. You know what I'm saying? And I'm an elite ninja. I can see shit you can't. And this is one of those things. The Final Fantasy 16 thing, if you just read between the lines, I mean, the writing's on the wall. If you just read between the lines, I mean, let's go ahead and segue into this because I want to segue into the delays because there's a couple of delays that one of them really hurt my heart. One of them I already knew. I told you guys. King of Fighters 15 has been delayed to 2022. That one kind of broke my heart a little bit because I was looking forward to that one so much this year, and it didn't. It's not going to happen. They basically said that COVID was a big reason they had to do it because they fell behind in a lot of things that they were trying to do and get done, and they didn't want to rush it. They wanted to make sure everything was completely polished before we got the game, and I respect them for that. You got to respect any company for putting out the game, for trying to make it the best game for the consumer as possible. I mean, you can't hate that. I mean, yeah, you'd be a little butthurt because you wanted the game sooner than, later, but that's everybody, right? If you have a game that's coming out and you want to fucking play it, of course, if it said, oh, you can get it tomorrow, would you take it? Fuck yeah, you would take it. But the question is, how good would it be? And would you take it if you could only have a half-finished game? No, I wouldn't do that. I'd say, look, fuck it. Let's get it done. Let's get it all the way right. I want a stellar experience. And God of War Ragnarok has been delayed. If you guys haven't known, if you were hiding under a rock, it has been fucking delayed to 2022. I called this months ago, and just as early as last week or the week before that, I talked about this. And, you really can't be mad at these guys for doing it because they're going to, I mean, look, all these companies are watching everything going on here. They saw the fiasco, which was Cyberpunk 2077. They saw all these things with No Man's Sky and these other titles, man. They don't want to be that next guy in line. They want to be that next company in line to be, okay, next, get in line for the meme of the year. We don't want that. They don't want that. They don't want their stock to plummet. They don't want it to be tarnished, their reputation to be tarnished. So they're going to do everything in their power to get this right. Even if they were planning on doing something close to what they were, what this other company was doing, CD Projekt Red. Okay, their bosses, like, look, we saw what they did. We're not gonna make the same mistake. Okay, especially if you're building on a reputation, like Santa Monica Studios. Okay, which are the company who have basically worked on the first God of War game, this most recent one in 2018, which is a fucking classic. It's a fucking classic, and it runs buttery fucking smooth on the base PS4, and it looks breathtaking. So I mean, those guys did stellar fucking work, and I will not. I don't care if it takes 2 more years. Before we see the game, would I be upset? Yeah, a little bit. But guess what? When the finished product is in my hand, I will thank them gladly for it, and then by then, I will have a PS5. Okay, and that's the next thing I want to say because. Look, these delays are happening because of what I said, guys. I'm telling you right now that it's a numbers game here. It is nothing but a numbers fucking game. All right. They're not going to put out, they're not going to make any money on selling these games, these AAA studios with millions of dollars, and they're not going to make their money back if they're just banking on the systems that are floating out here right now, the PS5s that are floating out here now, and the Xbox Series X's that are currently in people's homes right now. There's not enough. There's nowhere close to enough. This pandemic fucked everybody. Everybody still got hot, warm butter leaking from their ass, okay? Because everybody got fucked. I'm just keeping it real. And that's just what it is. It's a numbers game. If they put it out this year, they're not going to sell any fucking games. Because nobody has the fucking systems, man. So you can't. And I hear people, and I'm gonna get on this in a minute. I hear people talking about. I'm gonna go ahead and dive into it now. Fuck it, and I'm just gonna jump in here. Fuck it. Let me segue real quick into something else, and then I have a problem with this. This is where I really have a problem with a lot of people. The there's a lot of people who are salty right now because these games, a lot of these games have been announced for the PS4 as well. Okay, like Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West. Everybody thought at first that was going to just be an exclusive to the PS5. It's not. It's been announced months ago that this game is going to have a PS4 version. Same thing for God of War Ragnarok and Gran Turismo 7. These games that were supposedly supposed to be PlayStation 5 only games, which they probably ended up starting out that way before the pandemic and all that hit. But what happened was when the pandemic hit and they got the news that all these delays were coming for the systems, then they had to go back in and regroup and say, well, fuck, you know that there's 110 million fucking PS4s out here in the streets? Out here in these video game streets, there are over 110 million PlayStation 4s right now. And I think there's about 60 million or close to 60 million Xbox Ones out here. Okay? Look at the money. Look at the potential. Look at all the money you're walking away from. Compare 110 million to what, maybe 10 million right now on PlayStation 5s. And then take into consideration that there are at least 30 million people right now that are ready to push play on a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X. If there was one right now available. Right now. 30 million right now off the top. Guarantee you. All right? And then holiday season, you can add another 20 or 30 to that. Maybe at least another 20. Okay? That's where we are right now. And you mean to tell me you're going to put out God of War, Ragnarok for 10 million motherfuckers? And you got 110 million PS4s out here ready, open, not scalped, in people's homes, paid for, PlayStation accounts, games on it. Is that what you're telling me? If I'm a company, of fucking course I'm going to make a PS4 version of this shit. You know what I mean? Why would you shit on those people? Why would you make the consumer who can't get one suffer because they can't find one? And I hear people bitching talking about, oh, I'm pissed because, they're going to put out a PS4 version or they're going to do an Xbox One version and it's going to degrade the actual PlayStation 5 version because they're not going to be able to, get the best out of it. Well, fuck you if that's how you feel. You know why? Because you know that everybody can't get a fucking PS5 and an Xbox Series X right now. You're thinking about your fucking self. You're a selfish gamer. Okay? You know what I'm saying? That's some bullshit, man. So be mad. You're going to be mad because other people are trying to experience this, who can't experience what you're experiencing, what you're going to experience. Not because they can't afford it, because they just can't find one, man. I'm ready to push play right now on one. If I walk into Walmart tomorrow and I find an Xbox Series X, I'm picking that motherfucker up. Same thing with the fucking PS5, okay? But guess what? I don't have that luxury. And I'm not going to sit here and babysit a fucking computer screen and continue to fucking refresh a goddamn button all day long to get one. Because I have more important things to do than that. But, when it becomes available in my store, I will pick it up. And my point is this. I don't know when that's going to be. None of us know when that's going to be. Okay? But they do know this. It's probably not going to be this year. Okay? We're not catching up this year. So I'm almost on par with when I got my PS4, which was a year and a half after it came out. Because there were no games. There was nothing I was interested in. None of those things applied to me until that became available. And then I said, okay, there's a game coming out I want to play now. I really want to play this. And now it's time for me to pick up a PS4. And there's actually 2 or 3 by that time. So once you got about 2 or 3 games that are out there that you really want to play, then it's time to make some decisions. And right now for the PlayStation 5, if I'm speaking on that hardware right now, there's nothing out there that I would say this game makes me want to pick up this system and buy it now. Those games are going to get pushed back. And I'm telling you right now, Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West, these guys have basically said, yes, we're still on par to release for 2021. But, now see, if they said that and just walked away and put a period at the end of it, I would have been like, oh. But when they said but, We're going to work our hardest and as hard as we can to ensure that we stay on schedule and get this out. Guys, I'm telling you right now, that game is not coming out in 2021. Mark my fucking words. I said it. I said it before, and I was talking about God of War, and I was talking about Final Fantasy 16, and I mentioned this one as well. I said they're not all making it 2021. If you don't remember, go back on YouTube. Go back on YouTube and look when these game trailers first dropped. I remember when God of War Ragnarok dropped, when they laid that announcement to us. 2021. They did that to sell fucking systems. They did that to build the hype up before the systems. That's what they did. They wanted people to say, oh, it's coming out this year. We got to have one. And then what happened? You got the system and you're not going to get the game. I think the same thing is going to happen for Horizon Zero Dawn. I think Horizon Zero Dawn is going to come out like probably late January or February. Okay? Definitely first quarter 2022. That's when it's going to drop. I think that's when all the games are going to start to trickle out. Okay? That first and second quarter is when we're going to see these games. Final Fantasy 16, same thing. And I say that because we haven't heard anything yet. I'll put it like this. If I don't hear anything from Final Fantasy 16 in this E3, it's safe to say this game is not coming out in 2021. And we may even see something on this game. But we still won't get a release date. And if we're not getting a release date, guys, if we don't get any information on that, it's not going to happen. Because they feel the same way. If it's business. I mean, if you're smart, that's what you would do. Okay? You're either going to make a version for both, or you're just going to wait until more people have the system. And that's not going to be this year, guys. We are struggling to get our hands on these PS5s and these fucking Xbox Series X's. And as a result of that, this is what we're starting to see. Okay, this COVID-19 shit really, fucked up my world because, for the most part, I was good. My family was good, so I didn't have any worries. Nobody I knew had COVID. I was like, I'm not, it's not hitting home. But when this shit started happening, I said, oh, fuck, it's starting to affect my world. It's starting to affect, the shit that I enjoy. And that's gaming. Even a little bit in anime as well. Like, that's just how it is. And it's trickling down now. We're still recovering. We're still picking up those dominoes that somebody set up in the fucking house. And it took them days to build. But somebody tipped over that fucking domino, man. It's just tumbling down. Now we're struggling to put all these pieces back up together like it used to be. And that's just where we're at. So I just wouldn't hope. I wouldn't get my hopes up too high on this game. Don't get your hopes up for any of these games. These are all AAA titles. These are all games that have millions of dollars in resources already stacked against them, within them. And there's too many investors. There's too many people looking at these at these numbers and they're waiting for the other shoe to drop. They know they know what's going to happen. Okay, we can't put this shit out now. We're not going to make any money. And then you already know how games are. Okay, they're like a fucking car you drive off a car lot. The minute you drive that shit off the car lot, guess what happens? The car depreciates with value. Okay? The minute you drive it off the lot, it'll never be worth what it was before you picked it up. And games have that same kind of cycle. Theirs just happen a lot faster within months. Okay? Within 90 days of a game's release, you're already going to start to see the price drop. You're going to see the $40, $39.99. And you're going to get the 30, then you're going to eventually get 25 and then 20 and so on and so fucking forth until you're hanging around that $15, $10 range. That's just what it is. And then they don't build their value back up until years later. If it's a cult classic, if it's, whatever, the shortage or whatever. But when a game comes out first, that's how it goes. We all see it. We've seen it millions of times. Oh shit, we go to GameStop. This is only $20. Damn, I forgot about this game, but I'm just discovering now. Cool. I'll pay it. I'll pay it now. You know what I'm saying? That is where we're at. So they want that window, that 90-day window. Yo, they want that. They want all that money. They want that full price all the way. Okay? As long as they can get it. So when they put it out, they got to damn sure make sure that they are going to get that. That's why these companies are going and they're making other versions of these games. Now, do I understand where they're coming from when it comes to, you know, if they're making a version on a lesser system, are they kind of tying one of their hands behind their back? In some instances, maybe they are a little bit. And like I said, you're not gonna see the full potential of any of these systems, guys, for the first couple of years. You're not, until these games really start coming out and you really start getting development and developers working on these systems, this hardware only. And I'm giving that another about 2.5 years into the life cycle of these current gen systems. That's when you're going to start to see the shit really come out and really come alive. Put it like this: in my personal opinion, I don't think that The Last of Us 2, if it came out at the beginning of the PlayStation 4's life cycle, it would look anything like it looks now. It just wouldn't be. They've had plenty of time with this fucking with this hardware to work and know the ins and outs of it, and that's why it's a fucking masterpiece. Because it's a technical masterpiece. Same thing with God of War. Both of those are technical fucking masterpieces. Even let me say Horizon Zero Dawn as well. All three of those fucking games, okay, those are development. Those are devs who knew what the fuck they were doing, had the time that they needed, and got everything done. All their ducks in a row. All right, and they knew the systems well. All right, you're not gonna start to see that until later on into the life cycle. Okay, I'm guessing like the God of War after Ragnarok, because there's going to be another one. Please believe me. That's when you're going to see like the shit really shine, and you're going to start to, you know, really have your eyes open on what the systems can really do. You know what I mean? That's in my humble opinion. That's what I think is going to happen. And it if you look at history, that's what you get. That's what's been happening. You know, so. Don't hate on the gamers who can't find a fucking system. Don't even hate on the ones who can't afford it. I mean, you can't be mad at somebody because they rather have their light bill paid than fucking go out and get a system and spend their money out, or have kids and have things to do. I mean, that's kind of shitty to have that attitude, you know, towards people, towards, you know, who just want to game themselves, who are other fellow gamers, your brothers and sisters in this gaming, you know, universe. That's fucked up. You know what I mean? And I have an issue with that. It really shouldn't matter, but there are millions of people out there, one including myself, who would love to have both systems. I'm getting both of them. I am, okay, and it's just, but they're nowhere to be found right now. So I'm not paying any scalped prices for it. I'm not gonna do that. So that's out of the window, and that's where we're at, man. That's where we're at right now. I mean, I could talk about this shit for days and days and days, and it's just a sad thing, but. Thankfully, my backlog is thick, and there's games that are still coming out that I am going to be enjoying. So there you have that. And I'm sure a lot of us, a lot of you guys listening, feel the same way. I mean, there's plenty of games to play, guys. I have games still wrapped in plastic that I have not opened up yet. Okay, I have games that I have downloaded on my shit that I've been meaning to play and I haven't been able to play, like Tomb Raider. I was going to jump in there. I still haven't got on that yet. I told you I just talked about No Man's Sky earlier. I mean, that's another one. There's all kinds of things. I was playing Dark Souls 3 with my boy Dig before Biomutant came out. I still have so many hours in Biomutant that I have to do. I haven't had any time to really play Biomutant, by the way, since the last week. I played it a little bit, but I had friends over and all this shit going on. So, you know, I plan on diving back in there. And they've had a dope little update so far. So I'm looking forward to more updates from them. And so on and so forth, man. So I also mentioned Virtual Fighter 5, which I'm enjoying very much as well. So I do have one fighting game that I can sink my teeth into right now that I'm really having fun doing. A very, very deep fighting system. Since I can't get my King of Fighters 15 this year, which is all, you know, it is what it is. But everything happens for a reason, guys. And I'm sure there's something out there that you guys can enjoy and play while you're waiting on your new system to get it. And for those of you who do have the systems already, and I know a few of you do, I know some of my listeners do because I know one in particular, Windsor. He has a PS5. I mean, shit, my damn son, I just found out he got my 19-year-old son, he got a fucking Xbox Series S. He found one. His grandmother found one for him. So I'm like, I'm jealous, man. I'm like, what? He got his shit from, I think, Rent-A-Center or some shit like that. So, I mean, the rent center is, I don't know, popping. I guess you can fuck around and walk into the rent center, man, and pull one of these boys out and just pay it off right away, man, and you good. I mean, you may pay a little $20 or $30 extra, but fuck that. I mean, I'd pay that. That's about as much as I would pay, but it can be done. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, guys. There's nothing. I'm not, like I said, if I had it right now in my house right now, though, if I bought it tomorrow, I'd say, oh, we got them for you right now. Guess what? I'd have them in the boxes. I just have them. I'm like, okay, good. I found one. I found them. I'm glad I have them. I'm putting them up in my closet, and I'm going to fucking wait until the games come out. Because I told you, there's really only 3 games I want to play right now for the PlayStation 5. And that's Final Fantasy 16, God of War Ragnarok, and then there's Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West. That's it. Those are the games, guys. All right? Xbox, I'm kind of more leaning towards them because, look, they have the Game Pass, and, I can experience a lot of these games, 60 frames and all of those things. So that's cool. And then, the Game Pass is just a dope thing to have right now. You know what I mean? So I'd get more out of playing that. I'd spark that up now. I'd hook that up probably now and play that. But, excuse me, I hit the mic. But I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. It really is. But what can you say? You win some, you fucking lose some. I don't know. I feel some type of way today, guys. I you know what I mean? There's just all kind of different emotions and shit going on. And then I think we're on the cusp of this new E3. So I'm just kind of antsy. My hands are kind of sweating. And I don't know what's going to happen. But I just really feel that these AAA games that are supposed to be coming out for the PlayStation 5, I can't speak for Xbox Series X, because we still have yet to find out what they've got to show us. And I can't wait to dive into that as well. And hopefully I get excited about some stuff coming out there. But right now, these games I just mentioned, please don't look forward to playing them in 2021. We've got to get caught up on. Everybody's playing catch up, man. We got to catch up on these PlayStation 5s, man. We got to get more out here in these video game streets first, because I don't want to play the PS4 version of the game. I mean, if you're asking me, would I buy a PS4 version because I couldn't play the PS5 version? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. If it came out for both now, if God of War Ragnarok came out tomorrow, I'm not going to buy the PS4 version of that. I'm going to ride it out till I get to 5. Same thing for the other games. I mean, I just want that 60 frames. I want that quick load time. I just want to experience that part of it, and they know this, and that's why they're just trying to get us more systems as soon as they can, and they reconfigured some things inside of the box and all of that to make that, a little faster for us. But I talked about that last week, and and some more shit. So I guess we can all we can do is be patient and wait. That's all we can do, guys. Yeah, that's it. On another note, before I end the show, if you guys don't know, I also dibble and dabble in music. I love music. I love creating music. It's another hobby of mine. And I'm going to be sharing some new stuff very soon. Probably, I want to say this time next month. So be looking out for that. I'll let you guys know. I think I'm going to do a whole new page. And I may even have a channel for that, designated just for that. So you guys can kind of peep in there and do that. I've always wanted to do music for video games. That's been like a dream of mine. And, and do a lot of those type of music and beats and things of that nature. I've always been fascinated with that. So I'm looking forward to getting into that, because I'm finally going to jump from FL Studio 10, which is just old as fuck, to finally go get 20. If you're not familiar with that, FL Studio, it's a software program for creating music. I've been using it like since fucking forever, man. I want to say like damn near probably 15 years. Damn near 15 years, yeah. I've been fucking with it, and the thing is, when you're dealing with music programs, they usually put out updates and things of that nature, and new ones and stuff. And with the PC, in the PC world, you get cracked versions of all this shit, so you don't have to pay for it. You're like, yo, you can find it on the internet and get a cracked version, and you get the program for free. The problem with that is sometimes you can't get the updates. If you purchase it, you get the free updates for life, and it's associated with your email. So if you don't have that PC anymore, you can, go back and re-download it. So it's always yours in essence. You know what I mean? So it will follow you. That was my issue before. I had the old version. I was with an old girlfriend at the time, used her email, lost it, got, lost contact with her. And now I had to get a cracked version, which was 10. And I've been working with that for so long. And then now so many things have happened. Now we have 20 and I want to get into 20. But, to do that, I'd have to buy it. So I'm just going to fucking buy it, break down and buy it. You know what I mean? So yeah, be looking out for some dope, very inspirational beats, man. A lot of anime type beats and things of that nature. I've just got so many ideas in my head. And as an artist and as somebody who likes to create, sometimes you have droughts. You know what I mean? So I'll go hard for like 90 days and I'll burn myself out. And I'll have to chill for, at least a couple months, 2 or 3 months. And, then the ideas start to creep back in and you start to get, antsy and all that type of stuff again. And it's kind of like a wash. It's a repeating process in essence. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I operate. I don't know how you guys do. A lot of us who are into, anime and games and things of that nature, we have an artistic side to us, a creative side to us. And a lot of us are under that same umbrella. So if a lot of you guys are listening out there, and want to reach out and talk about that, I mean, I'd be more than happy to do so. I haven't talked about music on this podcast. I don't think, maybe a few times, but not a lot. But it's something that I definitely like to fuck with and dabble in. And I've met a couple people who listen to the show. I've talked to them, and some who I've just gravitated to in conversation about some of the same interests. And those are some of the things that we have in common. It's surprising, but I don't know. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean? So I just think it's a cool thing, and I'm going to incorporate that more into the show. Like everything that you guys hear on the show, for the most part, like the music for the most part, and the outro music, the intro music and stuff like that, that's music that I've written myself. You know what I mean? So I kind of like to be, inside of that creative circle as much as I can. I like to have my hands in everything. That's why I like editing videos a lot, and I like to get into that too. So, it's just fun to create. I just really love to create. So with that being said, I'm going to get ready to get out of here, guys. Don't forget, though, if you're new to the show, and if you're not new to the show, you can definitely support this podcast if you want to do so easily by going to www.StudioMguyvR.com. And you can check out my handles, my Twitter, my Instagram, my Facebook, and all that and then some. But you can also buy merch for the show. You can go to my store. You can purchase a hoodie. You can purchase a t-shirt, hats, or coffee mugs, or whatever. And anything and everything paid or bought there would definitely go towards helping out this show. So one more time, www.StudioMaguyvR.com. You can check that out, and you will be helping out your boy. Now, I'm going to get out of here, guys. I am sleepy as hell, and I don't know what's in store for me tomorrow, but hopefully good things. I'll see you guys next week, and we'll talk about more shit. Didn't get to talk about anime this week, but hopefully I have some anime to talk to you guys about. I've been watching Tokyo Ghoul RE. I just started getting back into that, and it did get juicy. Okay, the first few episodes were kind of meh, but then it picked up speed, and I'm feeling kind of good about it. So I think I'm like 8-9 episodes in there. So yeah, man. With that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. I love all you guys. I appreciate all the support, all the downloads, all the streams. And this is Studio MacGyver. You've been listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. See you next time.